Hello aspirants, welcome to our channel Disc Civil Services in Detail. Let's begin today's session on the Hindu Current Affairs Analysis and Answer Writing Strategies of Jan 28, 2025. So quote of the day, whenever signature changes to autograph, this makes the success. True. We always start our sessions with the most positive and impactful quotes so that your day will be like having a wonderful impact. Yes, most important topic of the day, Lala Lajpat Raiji's 160th birth anniversary celebrations. And here one more famous personality in news. So we are adding these slides. You should have a clarity about who are the persons in news and their birth celebrations, their contributions, because high chances of appearing these personalities in competitive exams. So let's give a quick fix of Lala Lajpat Raiji's contribution, especially for the Indian national movement as well as the upliftment of the downtrodden, and how he has contributed for the education sector too. And what are his literary contributions we are going to discuss. See, as these are the 160th birth anniversary celebrations of Lala Lajpat Rai ji. See, there's a famous trio called Lal Bal Pal. We all know. I am going to explain this particular personality very detailed because there was always high chances of appearing personalities, and in UPSC 2018 there was a question especially on Lala Lajpat Rai ji, where they have asked a few points about his contribution, like they have given a few details of how these particular personality written biographies of Shivaji, Mazini and other people, as well as they added a few points like the one who stayed in US for some time and the one who is participated in the assembly. So they have given options like Arbindo Ghosh, B. Motilal Nehru, and C. Lala Lajpat Rai, and D. Bipin Chandrapal. Answer is C. So you can answer these kind of questions when you have a clarity of these personalities background. Modern Indian history is one such an area where the personalities questions comes, whether it's from their literary contributions or from the movements which they have started or from the organizations related point of view. Even they can ask few social related reforms which they have done, social reforms to control these societal evils, to fight against these societal evils, etc. So always personality based questions, modern Indian history highly important, as well as the movements also important. See, most of the times people think like modern history is the one tough area where it's all combines of facts, data, years and dates. I tell you very simple, clear funda to understand this. See, when there was an event, उसके causes तो कुछ तो होंगे, previously reasons तो कुछ तो होंगे, because of which this event is happening, and finally उसके consequences तो कुछ आएंगे, और उस consequences के वजह से there will be chances of getting rise of another event. I'm sorry. Rise of another event. For example, I'll tell you very clearly, 1857 revolt is always high probable, and they always ask the personalities who fought and from which locations or areas they have fought, and why the what is the main reason for this Sepoys mutiny, as 1857 revolt is also called as Sepoys mutiny, and who are the Britishers who conquered or fought with these Indian personalities especially. And apart from that, they also ask for what are the reasons. There are 4-5 reasons. And what is the outcome of this reason? Sorry, outcome of this revolt. Queen's proclamation, obviously. So what are the major important points introduced through Queen's proclamation? See here, simple funda. There were few reasons. The religious disturbances, and one more few important points are there for which they raised this 1857 revolt from different regiments. So who are the persons, who are the leaders from different areas participated, and what are the main causes apart from that, regional causes and religious causes. Finally, the Britishers who suppressed the movement, and outcome of this suppression of the 1857 revolt is like क्वींस प्रोक्लेमेशन. एंड फाइनली इन क्वीन प्रोक्लेमेशन में कौन से ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आया? विच बट ह्यूज चेंज इन द ब्रिटिश कॉलोनियल imperialism. So this happened mainly because of the economic exploitation and socio-religious causes. वो तो हमें मालूम है. Other than that, ये जो इवेंट मतलब ये जो रिवोल्ट होने के बाद they brutally suppressed this. Even they came up with few resolutions. So उस resolutions के वजह से how they gonna change the complete ruling pattern. This is how. तो वो ruling pattern change होने के बाद जो changes आए थे वो again was giving rise to the Indian national movement, again in 3 phases: early phase, moderate phase, extremist phase kind of. And finally गांधी जी की एंट्री होने के बाद फ्रीडम मिली थी because of lakhs of peoples and other few personalities who give an impeccable contribution. So I am explaining this point very clearly because most of the time people think modern history से hardly 6 or 7 questions आते हैं. Instead of remembering all these facts, data, movement, we should skip this. Nahi. Modern history has highest weightage in any competitive exam and the easiest and most beautiful subject. Because from here, you should learn and you can understand the beauty of the freedom fighters' contribution, each and every personality's contribution to literary, to art, टू सोसाइटल अपलिफ्टमेंट एंड मार्जिनलाइज्ड सेक्शंस के बारे में और वर्नरेबल सोसाइटी के बारे में उन्होंने कितना फाइट किया था, कितना कुछ किया था, जो आज हम जाके एंजॉइंग द फ्रूट्स ऑफ फ्रीडम. And even you will able to write these answers very beautifully when you have strong command over history. Because अभी current affairs में क्या हो रहा है, भीरसा मुंडा का 150th anniversary celebrations हो रहा है, birth anniversary. So you should definitely know about what is Birsa Munda rebellion, from which location he fought and what are the reasons for which he revolted against. Again land reforms and economic exploitations is one. So he is the one from the tribal agency who fought rigorously. So अभी आप बिरसा मुंडा 150th एनिवर्सरी बर्थ एनिवर्सरी सेलिब्रेशंस करंट इवेंट्स जो पढ़ रहे हैं, इट इज अगेन फ्रॉम द मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री पार्ट ऑफ. तो आपको जरूर मालूम होना चाहिए बिरसा मुंडा रिबेलियन है. तो व्हाट आर द अदर रिबेलियंस अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिशर्स? लाइक संथाल इज देयर. संथाल रिबेलियन इज वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक. आई एम ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन यू. यूपीएससी जहां स्ट्रेस करता है वहां हमें फोकस करना चाहिए. जैसे कि मैंने अभी बताया था, पर्सनालिटी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस इंपॉर्टेंट है और मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री पार्ट भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. and apart from that these revolts are important. So all these topics are like highly important and each and every topic is interconnected and interlinked. I hope it's clear. And now whenever there are 25 year celebrations or 50 year celebrations or 100 plus year celebrations, make sure that topic is gonna appear in your competitive exams, damn sure. So for now we are celebrating 76th Republic Day, high chances of getting questions. 75 years of constitution, high chances of getting in exam. 150th year of birth anniversary celebrations and 160th birth anniversary celebrations of our most famous personality, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Ji Bose का भी हुआ है. So all these people are like having high chances of appearing in your exam. So I am telling you, don't feel like these contain lots of facts and data. How can we remember? Just now I explained लो. उसी तरह क्लियर कट कॉन्सेप्ट से और क्लियर कट लॉजिक से पढ़ो, आसानी हो जाएगा. सो बैक टू द टॉपिक ऑफ द डे, 160th birth anniversary of Lala Lajpat Rai ji. As I already mentioned, there was a PYQ and high chances of appearing this also. I never tell about this name of the mother, father and his native birthplace, all these things, education, all this background, because of the very few basic data which you can easily do. But this time I am trying to explain because if there is a question on this personality's contribution, you should at least give 2 to 3 lines of biodata about him. It should not be like you are just writing for the sake of writing the answers. आपके पास थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शन और थोड़ा प्रिपेयर्ड आंसर होना चाहिए. उसमें इंट्रो पार्ट में थोड़ा उनका कोट से शुरू करके, जैसे देयर इज अ फेमस कोट ऑफ हिम, like when he was in the last days of his breathing his last, he was saying, every blow on my blood will be a nail in the coffin of British. You can start this quote You can start the answer with this quote, or in the conclusion you can write it, and you can talk like this has given the rise of excessive focus on getting this national movement and his contribution was impeccable. ऐसे बोल के आप आंसर शुरू कर सकते हैं या कंक्लूजन में लिख सकते हैं. And I'm sincerely request all the aspirants to develop the habit of writing running notes, because अगर मैं लिखते जाऊंगी तो it will consume lots of time and energy of yours too. अगर मैं जब बोलते जा रही हूँ, already I'm trying to write as fast as possible, like the fastest fingers first. उतना फास्ट तो मैं लिख रही हूँ, बता रही हूँ. Apart from that, there are many points which I am giving in the flow, giving a lots of facts and data in the flow analysis part also. So try to develop the habit of writing running notes. उसके वजह से आपको writing skills improve होंगे, और presentation skills improve हो जाएंगे, as well as the grasping level will be increased, like the hand eye coordination, and how you have as much as possible you are writing the wonderful answers. These all will directly indirectly help when you are writing your mains. Even for prelims it will be like highly helpful, like the question which generally takes few seconds to read, few minutes to read and understand, you can do in less than seconds or less than minute, and you can put a right option. So all these are like interconnected. Writing running notes, understanding, revising, interlinking the subject to the other topics, doing other rigorous revisions. That's why I'm conducting these sessions and named it as a answer writing strategies, because main motto of the session itself is like you should get the dream job, government job, and get settled within less than 1 year, as time and energy is very much important. So your resources should be utilized properly, and हम आपको जो दे रहे हैं उसको properly utilize करो. That is what I'm always trying to convey. So coming back to the session, father's name is, see, he born Jan 28th 1865 at फिरोजपुर पंजाब, वो तो क्लियर है. पापा का नाम था मुंशी राधा कृष्णा और मम्मी का नाम था गुलाब देवी. And native, as I already mentioned, Punjab. Education law. तो ये little bit of background हो गया. Now come back to the contribution especially to Indian national movement. Highly important, because he is the most famous personality. You might have heard the trio Lal Bal Pal, and he is one among them. So just check it out. After joining Indian National Congress in 1905, he opposed, guess what, अगर आपको इवेंट्स याद होंगे तो इट विल बी इजीली एबल टू रिकॉल. देखिए अभी मैंने जैसे बताया कि कॉजेस रीजंस कुछ थे विच लेड टू द राइज ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर इवेंट, लाइक नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट और सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट और क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट और साल सत्याग्रह. सो एवरी मूवमेंट और एवरी what it's called a revolt or rebellion done because of few causes or reasons, and come up with few consequences and resolutions. So each one is like giving rise to another event. It's a kind of giving rise to completely finally getting this freedom Indian. So that is what I'm trying to convey. अगर जब मैं बोलती हूँ कि 1905 में he opposed a movement, immediately it should come in your mind that yes, that is opposed partition of Bengal, which is a very crucial stage in Indian history. And after then, in 1917, he started Indian Home Rule League of America. See, these organizations are highly important. They directly frame a question and give this name, and they ask who of the following or who among the following started this. Again, they will say like Satyendra Nath Bose or Motilal Nehru or Bipin Chandra Pal or Lala Rajpat Rai ji or Gandhi ji, whoever. They give a few names and ask who among the following started this. So organizations, newspapers, movements, and especially colleges or any particular resolutions or acts, highly important from modern history. Again I am telling you, you can, if you are very good at these facts, you can write a wonderful answers in your prelims and mains. And most of the time, even in the interview board, they frame a questions who are in news, like he is celebrating 160th, so high chances of getting these kind of questions. So come back. In 1920, again See, he is the one who opposed partition of Bengal, also opposed Jallianwala Massacre and Rowlatt Act. And he also opposed Simon Commission. I am giving a list of events and years. In 1920, he became president of INC at Calcutta. And in 1928, he opposed Simon Commission, which was a crucial role in his life. There he was brutally lathi charged on October 1928, and in November he breathed his last. 17th. So check out the organizations which he have started. In 1894, he started Punjab National Bank for financial independence and empowerment of the downtrodden and women especially. And in 1897, he started Hindu Orphan Relief Movement, where he supported children's education and children's well-being. And in 1921, he started Servants of People Society. It is high probable many times appeared in competitive exams, especially UPSC framed this question. So put a star mark here. If I change into red ink, yellow ink, blue ink, it might look beautiful while highlighting, but it will take extra few seconds. So instead of wasting time by selecting different colors and writing beautifully, I am trying to focus on building content and giving as much as wonderful concepts as possible. And he is also given huge contribution to Arya Samaj, and he also helped Mahatma Hamsraj in developing DAV College, Dayanand Anglo-Vedic College. So just understand how we are connecting all the important dots and the most important literary contributions I am trying to give. He is the one started Vande Mataram and Arya Gazette. These are the newspapers. And apart from that, he written Young India. Again, they may give a few books titles, and on left side they give a few books and titles of the books, and right side they give few personalities who written them and ask you to match the following, or they may ask you which of the following pairs are correct. So you should definitely have a clarity of thought about the literary contribution, especially these newspapers and Young India. So books written by Netaji Chandra Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose, and books written by Lala Lajpat Rai ji, books written by Motilal Nehru, books and papers, literary contribution by Rabindranath Tagore. You should have a basic idea. So Young India is the one, Unhappy India is the one, and apart from that, the story of my deportation, and few other books he have written, of course, and he is the one who focused more on Swaraj and Swadeshi concept. So these are the few inputs for his from exam point of view, and just understand the most important point. Shere Punjab, Line of Punjab, or Punjab Kesari are the titles he owned. They may also ask the titles and names and their contribution. So just make 2 to 3 pages of notes, be ready with this, and give a quick fix revision kind of. Coming to the other topics of the day which are highly important from exam point of view, is this is one more personality, and these are the list of topics which we are going to discuss. So check it out. This time there are lots of issues happening, and these are one more few important points. Guillain-Barré syndrome is in news since last few days because incidents happening in Pune. So when there was an outburst of Ebola virus, I'll just write it in another ink, then it will be easy for you to easily visible kind of. Ebola virus was in news. Zika virus was in news. And H1N1 and recently HMPV virus. All these things. Whenever any virus outbreaks, UPSC and other boards without any hesitation frames a question and asks you to identify the right option. And diseases related and viruses related, always high probable. Most of the times they ask like tropical diseases or neglected tropical diseases or vitamin deficiency related. I hope you might able to understand the seriousness of these sessions, because these are, apart from understanding and explaining the current affairs, I am giving you how these topics are important for exams and how these topics have been already asked in previous exams. See, most of the time they ask you to write this vitamin deficiency related. They write A, B or K, etc. They give vitamins and they give names of the diseases and ask you again to match or identify the right pair. So always vitamin deficiency high probable in every competitive exam, whether it's a group 2, group 1, UPSC, SSC, CGL, everything. So make a list of all these vitamin deficiency related and diseases related. When we were discussing about Bhopal gas tragedy, I have clearly mentioned about this vitamin deficiency related. If it is deficiency in iron, what is the disease? And if it is deficiency in vitamin K, what is the disease? And how this influence of metals in your food intake impacts and gives other few metal related diseases and all. So just go back and recall again. Coming to the point, Ebola was PYQ when it was in current news. And most of the time, if you observe, these African nations are the one where these fungus, bacterial, virus related diseases spreads, because the lifestyle is one more important point, culture or the food they intake, and maybe lack of taking proper nutrition is one more important reason, and even the immune system is one more important reason. So coming back to this point, I'm again explaining this is high chances of getting in this year, and even check out what are the other virus related diseases which were in news recently. So here they have clearly mentioned. Okay, one more point I want to explain. Whenever any disease, recently we have discussed about thyroid, osteoporosis, HMPV, H1N1, now Guillain-Barré syndrome, and there are many other respiratory and chronic diseases getting affected because of these emissions and pollutions and climate change related events. So I have explained a format to remember these diseases and prepare in a way. If you are getting any questions related to diseases, you should be able to put a right option. So first, if there is a disease, why in news? First most question which should come in mind. Okay, there might be definitely happened an incident like this happened in Pune, and now they are giving deployed Union of Health Ministry deployed a huge team to check it out what's happening kind of. So what are the causes or reasons? What are the symptoms of the disease? Little bit of historical background, where who are the one found this and from which region it was first spread and in which year they first identified or discovered this. It's a kind of little bit of static part adding to the current topic. And incident, causes, symptoms. Is government taking any initiatives to control or combat that, like central, state or local, especially if it is a tribal related or rural related? What are the initiatives they are handling? See, like National Health Mission is one which we recently discussed. There's a lots of initiatives introduced in this, and there's a lots of improvement, and even they extended this mission to extra 5 years, that is till 2026. So it's a kind of recalling all the topics and interconnecting all the important points when you are doing something. So just don't stick to the only Guillain-Barré syndrome. This is how you have to recall, this is how you have to build, this is how you have to remember all the important points, and this is how you have to do your notes making too. And even we discussed about elimination of TB and Kala Ajar and polio related other topics too. Even we have discussed enough about this cancer, and even we have done all this, we done enough discussions on diseases perspective. So now I am giving you the format. So what is Q or vaccine related? So what are the organizations, whether national or international level, are doing? So what are the final observations? How it can be eradicated or reduced? And also causes, reasons. Apart from that, check out the locations where they are rampant, and apart from symptoms, check out what are the favorable conditions because this particular virus is getting spreading, and who are the age group. As for Guillain-Barré, it is 30 to 50 plus. And finally, what can be done way forward. And this is one such way where you have to understand, okay, this is how we have to do, this is how we have to understand and check. So apart from that, most important point in this is we are doing diseases. So what are the recent viruses or observations in the newspaper? What are the past events in the newspaper? Okay, as we already mentioned, African nations are the one, or the other nations are the other backward nations or island nations are the one, because of lack of proper awareness or lack of intake of proper nutrition, these are spreading. So how these can be eradicated? And Bhopal caste tragedy is one such incident where we have seen impeccable impact on health even after 40 years. Now the future generations are still suffering, and still the future generations have impact, so that the Pithampur, where they are trying to transport that biological biomedical waste, they are opposing, so that they should not feel like it will like contaminate the soil and water in the Pithampur too. See, I am explaining I'm extremely sorry. I am explaining and trying to convey how one topic is important from exam point of view, how you have to do this notes making, how you have to interconnect and check out the 360 degrees multidimensional approach. That's why after checking out Guillain-Barré syndrome, instead of just giving the few inputs, few data, few highlights of the syndrome, it will hardly take 2 to 3 minutes for me to complete that, but I am giving lots of energy and time for you to understand the seriousness of the session and exam. I hope it's clear. So also check it out, what are the ministries, what are the targets, like eradicating so and so disease by so and so year. This is also having high chances of appearing in prelims, even if you are coming for particular state and that state has a huge number of these health indicators and all these things, a huge number of getting people affected, and health indicators are not properly reached. So you as a bureaucrat, or you or as a special officer on health department, what initiatives you should suggest so that these activities can be done properly to reduce the diseases or viruses or improve the health sector. This is how interview frames a question. मतलब आपको सीधा पूछेगा कि you are going to become an officer, आपके जगह ये मतलब प्रॉब्लम है, या मतलब झारखंड में ये प्रॉब्लम है, नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में ये प्रॉब्लम है, और ट्राइबल एरियाज में ये प्रॉब्लम है. तो what can be done so that these can be eradicated and people getting better life conditions? क्योंकि life conditions and health are the prime factor and highly important points in the SDGs too, which we are going to achieve by 2030. So this is how, again see, here we are recollecting and recalling all the relevant diseases, types of diseases and the targets, SDGs, initiatives, government, even the interview में board आपको कैसे पूछेगा, तो how your answer should be genuine enough with a practical implementation, practical answers kind of. This is how you have to build your answer. So coming back to the topic of the day, Guillain-Barré 1859 में फर्स्ट इसको डिस्कवर किया गया था, लेकिन आफ्टर 1900s Gillan and Barre are the one who diagnosed this while checking or giving treatment to two soldiers, and this is how this syndrome got this name. So after then, since now 2020s, there's a lots of different cases and observations. So here now check out the meaning, symptoms, treatment. You no need to go do Google, Wikipedia, different sites and all these things. If you regularly, consistently study the paper, everything will be available there only. Here in this particular article, they clearly mentioned, check it out. Guillain-Barré syndrome is an autoimmune neurological disorder in which a person's immune system attacks their peripheral nerves, leading to muscle weakness that can progress to paralysis. So, it is a respiratory related immune system affecting neurological disorder. In extreme cases, it leads to paralysis also. इतने अच्छे से छोटे बच्चे को समझाने की तरह उसका मीनिंग क्या है, वो बॉडी को कैसे अफेक्ट करता है, तो उसके लिए WHO ने क्या किया है और इंडियन गवर्नमेंट अभी क्या इंट्रोड्यूस कर रही है और उसका ट्रीटमेंट क्या है. अगर इसको अफेक्ट होता है, ये अफेक्ट होता है, तो उस सिंड्रोम को पोटेंशियली हैंडल करने के लिए, एरेडिकेट करने के लिए थेरेपी क्या सजेस्ट किया गया है और फाइनली how it can be tackled. In this article, they have very clearly mentioned there is no known cure for GBS. However, there are some treatments, still completely full recovery nahi hai. And also they have clearly mentioned about how it affects the body, how it affects the immune system, and how it impacts the nervous system, and how it controls the movement of muscles, temperature, touch, pain, sensations, all these things. And finally it is talking about it is a life threatening. WHO says it is a life threatening. So how it can be treated and monitored as quickly as possible so that it will not take the lives or it will not giving a huge impact on the life of the people. Simple. Matlab, what are the highlights and important aspects you have to understand from exam point of view, especially for Guillain-Barré syndrome? Everything clearly mentioned here. If you are reading paper regularly and consistently, that's enough. You are getting complete data and inputs. That's the reason instead of me giving a PDF, copy paste the topic and just making a note, I'm adding these slides so that you will be able to understand, okay, everything paper में दिया जा रहा है and clear cutly A to Z complete 360-degree approach दिया जा रहा है. We are the one who have to read and understand and we are the one who is going to write exam. इसलिए हमें समझना चाहिए. इधर उधर भाग के दौड़ के वो material ये material instead of running around and grabbing all the material, ending up with doing nothing. Instead of that, focus on sincerely doing these paper sessions regularly. That's enough to crack the exam. I hope it's clear. Yes, India-China to resume direct flights, issue visas. Again in this article, I'll just try to highlight the importance of these topics again so that you will be able to understand. See, after disengagement announced by our defense ministry, you already know the historical background. What happened in Galwan Valley, what's happening since 2020s, and what is the initiative we have taken in 2024 to work towards building peace and tranquility, especially with the neighbor nation. So in the process, I already explained in the previous session, we are working to start or to resume direct flights. We are working to make give that entry to the Chinese media into the Indian nations. Here we are working the trans-border issues and also we are working on these trans-border rivers issues. In this article they have clearly mentioned because they are constructing a huge world's largest dam in Brahmaputra which will be giving a huge impact on especially northeastern region. So we have few packs where we have to discuss about this hydrological data of the transponder border rivers, which they didn't given since last few years. So all these issues has to be taken care of, dealt properly, and proper communication should be done, and calling for ending this mutual suspicion and entrenchment, instead of that working for building this peace and tranquility, especially for the global good. As India is working strong on, I already mentioned, Vishwamitra policy, global friend. From Vishwaguru, we are now thriving to build ourselves as a Vishwamitra, which is again because we are thriving to develop ourselves as a global leader and achieve this Vikasit Bharat concept by 2047, that is developed India. So for that we are focusing on neighborhood first policy, Vishwamitra policy, global south, and raising our voice and giving our voice as the voice of the global south. All these things, even in the Indo-Pacific region and Indo-Ocean regions also, we are working strong. So coming back to the article, this article is clearly talking about military standoff at line of actual control. Again, go back to your NCRTs, check out geography and atlas and identify LAC and LOC, high probable areas, and these are the very basics of geography and atlas. So please very sure having a strong command your basics too. And here they are trying to conduct discussions. Since last few months they are conducting huge discussions with our external affairs minister, our PM and our superhero Ajit Doval sir. They are discussing different points like measures to resume direct flights, visas, people to people exchange, and even Manas Sarovar Yatra pilgrims this summer. This is high important topic. I am going to explain it in a very clear manner, sure. They agreed to resume the dialogue on the transponder rivers and sharing of hydrological data also. As I already mentioned, they didn't done this since few years. So it's time, because then only we can take a few decisions and we can prepare. It's a kind of building early warning system so that we can avoid the disturbances or disaster related activities. And we are celebrating 75 years of establishment of ties and diplomatic relations. So finally, other important points and relevant mechanisms where he is talking about, hydrological data is one, cooperation in pertaining to transport rivers is one, people to people exchange including media and think tank interactions. Already I mentioned all these points, nothing to do again. But whenever India-China relations are in news, you should be having a little bit of uh, command over static part, historical background and all these things. And they are also talking about resumption, and they are also talking about this Shanghai Cooperation. When Shanghai Cooperation you are studying here, just understand, okay, what is Shanghai Cooperation? Who are the nations, member nations or founding members, and what are the objective of Shanghai Cooperation, and where is the headquarter? So again, come back to your basic brainstorming style. See, in this article they are discussing about India-China relations, and they have mentioned disengagement related. So since 2020 in Galwan Valley, there's a lots of issues. This standoff, 2024, this disengagement, as we try to build back our, bringing back those strategic and diplomatic relations to normal situation. This is what important from exam point of view. Now they have discussed about SCO. So okay, SCO, when did it started? It's a kind of giving, check out the date. Founding members, who are the other participants or observer nations. What is the main objective of this SCO? What are the challenges they are facing in implementing the SCO? Are there any mother organization or parallel organizations run by SCO? So what are the financial related aid like BRICS do? What are the main motto of SCO? Apart from that, is India part? Yes or no? So what are the other organizations where India and China are common members, common group members? So this article they have started from 2020 to 2024. As I already mentioned, there we have added a slide. So see, Depsang, Dhemchok, this Pangangso and Hot Springs, Galwan Valley, and all these locations highly important. UPSC directly frames a questions on map pointing. They give this map without names and they may give these points, highlights the points and give in A, B, C, D as okay, this is Depsang. Point 1 is Depsang. Point 2 is B, Dhemchok. Point C, point 3 is C, Galwan. So they ask you like match the following, they give this side. I'll write it clearly. Wait. So that it will be easy for you to understand. They will write like 1, 2, 3. Depsang, Hot Springs, Galwan Valley and Dhemchok. Here they give as a point. So they give list of names and they ask you to locate the point. In that point they give like location 1, location 2, location 3, location 4. And you have to identify, okay, if one has been written there and it is Galwan Valley, then immediately you have to match the following like this, A1. Or if they ask, they give a few pairs. 1 is Galwan, 2 is Leh, 3 is Hot Springs. Then again they ask which of the followings are right. Of course, you have to give. Or even they ask questions. Recent India-China relations were in news because of the few incidents, especially disengagement. What happened in Galwan Valley? So, are the nations working together to build peace and tranquility? So, what are the topics which are in news? Like they give a few statements like 1 Galwan Valley, 2 statement related to Tangspong, Pangong, so 3 related to this biggest largest dam, and ask you which of the following statements are right. It's very important to have the basic understanding, and I always mention whenever any national international relations ask, you should definitely have that historical background, cultural perspective, economic perspective, environmental, are we doing any collaborations, and what are our defense related engagement, what we are doing in energy sector, especially in technologies, are we doing any technology transfer, are we doing any people to people connected in cultural, are we doing any engaged or involved in people to people other than that educational or exchange of the skill development related programs. And also we should have a clarity about coming to economical trade and what are the infrastructural related developments or projects which both are involved, and what are the common concerns, interests, challenges, as well as are we common in any groups international level, and again are we having any organizations one to one collaborations, again that is called bilateral and multilateral relations. And even in economic, check out the foreign investments, bilateral investment treaties, and diaspora. Nowadays diaspora is playing a huge crucial role, check out from diaspora point of view. So this is how you have to build your basics, and we were discussing about this Depsang Demchok. We did enough of discussion, but again when we are doing this India China relations, I'm going to explain it very clearly. So these are the slides which we have added for you to have a clarity of thought about the locations. Please give a quick glance. Uniform Civil Code, highly important and high probable this year for UPSC. When Sikkim was the first organic state, that year organic farming introduced. Immediately question appeared. on all competitive exams. So for the first time UCC introduced in Uttarakhand. Be very sure. I already told you, whenever you are doing any current affairs related to particular state, if UCC introduced it for the first time in India in Uttarakhand, so what are the other initiatives or schemes which are in news in Uttarakhand or recent observations? You should have a clarity. How you have to do that, I'll explain. Give a little um uh, glance on this particular topic. UCC comes under DPSP Article 44. Please give a glance at your Lakshmikant Polity book, recent edition, 108 page, DPSP. So DPSP always high probable and Article 44 high probable. USCC also high probable. That is bringing lots of changes and introducing lots of new amendments in this act, where it is clearly mentioned it is banning the ban of practices especially related to marriage. It has introduced a few inheritance policies, and even it is talking about when it is coming to marriage, it banned halala, iddat and talak. And inheritance policies, like they have given a few rights on the inheritance of this property rights and etc. Even it clearly mentioned that registration of marriages is must, and it excluded, the beauty of this point is it excluded the tribes, because it takes definitely some time to get into the mainstream, because tribes are the one who hugely participate in polyandry, polygamy, all these things. So this UCC is particularly banning this polyandry, having multiple wives or multiple life partners and getting married twice or thrice. But in tribal societies we observe a huge this a incident जो रहता है, having multiple wives or multiple husbands and multiple partners, multiple marriages, tribes में बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है, वो उनका basic culture होता है. And even living together before marriages are acceptable in few tribal societies. So for immediately bringing them into the mainstream and getting them adapted to the new lifestyle is little bit challenging. So इसलिए government ने क्या किया है, उन tribes को exclude किया है, and it is applicable to the Uttarakhand people. Even if the people who are coming from other states and living in the Uttarakhand, they should have to follow these UCC rules. This is what excuse me, they are talking about, and they are saying this, it will be like beginning of a new era of equality and harmony, which will definitely bring a huge change in the women's life, especially unke rights related, equality related. There will be a huge impact on their lives. And also saying this is the first state who is going to start this. Hopefully it should reach to all the corners of the nations, and PM, president, everyone lauded these schemes. So highlights of this article is all about, there are ban of practices related to marriage, inheritance rules कुछ change किए गए हैं, registration of marriages is important, not applicable to tribes, and also check out natives who have migrated out of the states. And apart from that, most important points, if the parents who are what is called जो डाइवर्स के लिए ट्राई कर रहे हैं, उनका बच्चा है, अगर मदर फादर दोनों, if they are quarreling and not able to take care of the child, then it's the responsibility of the guardianship will be given to the grandparents. So इस तरह के they have introduced a few points. We are going to discuss that in detail in coming sessions. Definitely there may be an article coming today or tomorrow on UCC with all the highlights and important. And politics के points से highly important है, governance के points से important है, even society, women and this religious practices related, highly important. Make sure you should able to understand the importance of this scheme and make a note of all the important points, helpful for writing wonderful essays also. Yes, simultaneous elections very much important. I'll just try to complete it as a. See, this article is particularly talking about, he is saying since last few years we have come up with wonderful initiatives for complete economic development, empowerment of the women, upliftment of the vulnerable in the society, and mainly focusing on youth. As India is the country with highest demographic dividend, where we have the highest possibility of using this potential for the skill development and economic development of the nation. So here they are saying conducting very frequently elections every few months, it's wasting time and energy of the people, and the people who are involved in these duties, affecting the teachers, their duties, their studies, exam preparations, all. And it is also like taking youth's important time and energy. So focusing on future of India's youth, we are trying to build a few important changes, bring few important changes, linking future of and directly linking future of India's youth, how it is going to impact saving time and energy, as well as it is giving a huge responsibility, and it is giving a huge understanding how these simultaneous elections were helpful. So lots of debate is going on, lots of discussions is going on, there are lots of pros and cons, we will be discussing about it too, coming from polity point of view, as well as economic point of view, as well as these elections point of view. There will be lots of discussion. Finally he is saying it is for the global good, whatever we are doing, it is for the global good, and mainly to build ourselves as a global leader. That is what this article is all talking about. BrahMos, I'll just explain BrahMos too, because there's a deal going on between India and Indonesia. And yes, this air show is in news. In this article, they have clearly mentioned about, see, France is the one nation with highest exhibitor, and US is the second with the highest exhibitor. And this time, Germany with 22 exhibitors is the third, followed by Italy, Russia, UK, Israel. So, it is a biennial air show which is going to happen. And in this article, they mentioned first, second to chronological order of these exhibitors. Here it's a kind of giving introduction to aircrafts, their warships, and what is the technology they are having, and how they are building their strong what is called striker fighters jets and all these things. And here they can come under investments or collaborations or even treaties to lease or purchase these. It's a kind of giving a lots of fighter aircraft deals. So it's a kind of these nations giving introduction and showcasing their what it's called, I'm extremely sorry, air force related fighter jets and all, and completing deals and showing their advancement in that particular sector. So finally over 100 countries participated in 2023, and 250 MOUs, partnership worth 75 crore done. So it's a kind of improving defense cooperation, economic cooperation, and also building strategic relationship with the nations one to one and one to multiple. That's how it's important. That's what. And yes, again, persons in news, highly important. He succeeds V Narayanan, who was earlier this month selected as ISRO chairman. Now it is M Mohan, director of Liquid Propulsion System Center. So these are the projects. He has held various positions, and he was system leader of Moon Impact Probe project of Chandrayaan. So other than that, nothing much more important. So he comes under persons in news, and his contribution to ISRO they have clearly mentioned. And what are the future projects of or future missions of ISRO important from exam point of view, like they are doing this 100 launch, and Bharatiya Antariksha Station is in news, is, and Gaganyaan mission is there, Chandrayaan 4 is there. There's lots of future missions are there. How is gonna giving his huge contribution to make these all successful, and India being holding a strong position in the space technology too. Indonesian naval delegation visits BrahMos. Again, I clearly mentioned these are the highlights of the BrahMos, and even other points we have already discussed, done enough discussions. So, amid negotiations between India and Indonesia for the sale of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile systems, the delegation was apprised of supersonic BrahMos weapon system and its formidable capabilities. So, key points of the discussions are two naval leaders included advanced joint initiatives like exercise Samudra Shakti. When I was discussing about Indo-Indonesian relations, I clearly mentioned about the military exercises done for building strong relations as well as having command over this maritime security. So, at the time, I clearly explained about India, Indo, Corpat and Samudra Shakti is the one. It is to strengthening operational collaboration and addressing shared maritime challenges like piracy, other illegal activities. So, maritime related जो भी है security, especially to combat piracy, terrorism, and even the PDS scams are going, where huge amount of PDS public distribution system related items have been getting pirated through these ships and all, and illegal activities like trafficking, especially human trafficking, and these drugs related activities, as well as piracy in different spheres, and other than these they are conducting a few activities which are like inhuman. Of course, there's a lots of loss to the economical, ocean related and climate related, environmental related. These are few piracy and maritime security related, and illegal migrations and transmigrations also one more important area where they have to take care of. And for that they are conducting these surveil vessels, they are conducting this survey and releasing these surveil vessels and checking out these military exercises done to prove that yes, they have strong command over this maritime combating maritime challenges. They are working strong towards building this maritime space security, especially in the Indian Ocean region and Indian Pacific region. So that's is nothing more than that. We will be discussing about this in soon, as it is a 50 million deal for the BrahMos system. Yes, this article again, India US, they committed towards trusted partnership. We have lots of issues related to immigrants, H1B, visa, trade related to diaspora, technology. But this phone directly talks on phone clearly indicates that they have the strong friendship ties and they will be definitely working toward building a strong bilateral relations, trusted partnerships, and from where there will be two leaders will be conducting mutual understanding of mutual beneficial and trusted partnership related and mutual beneficial initiatives kind of. And finally he is recollecting all the memories from 2017 where the two leaders met, and before before pandemic when the two leaders again met. See, we are going to do definitely Trump 2.0 version and its impact on both global level and India. We are going to discuss about this. Especially there's a lots of discussion on WHO, climate change, Paris Agreement and all. We are going to do a clear-cut discussion on this too. This is highly important from exam point of view. Expert panel clears plan to rebuild washed away Tista Dam. The first point which should come in your mind. Okay, Tista Dam in Sikkim. So, devastating glacier lake outburst flood in Sikkim washed away Tista Dam, which is state's biggest hydropower, killing at least 100 people. And it is an expert committee of environment ministry has recommended that the dam can be reconstructed. Earlier one was like partly rock and partly concrete. Now they are focusing to build a completely concrete dam. It is giving a project development Sikkim Urja Limited has been asked to implement an early warning system in upper catchment. The major cause of the overlapping of the dam was that flood gates could not be opened in time. This led to a deluge of water, debris and muck. And herely they mentioned about the new design incorporated a worst case scenario, meaning the maximum possible rain in the upstream glacier should be handled properly and enhance the safety of the personnel working during the project operations. Also, they are taking few decisions, and finally they are talking about cost benefits of the dam. Now from exam point of view, you should understand Tista River, dam, Sikkim. Okay, so glacial lake outburst flood, that is GLOF. So what are these glacial lake outburst floods? And this is where you have to stress. See, glacier lake outburst flood. I am going to explain it in detail. See, there are many reasons. From exam point of view, you understand. Glacial outburst lakes happens because of few reasons. Because of the cloudbursts. If there is a huge rainfall, the lakes get filled and it leads to outbursts and it leads to floods, and this is how it completely creates damage to the livelihood and nearby locations. Cloudburst is the one such reason. And second one is ice avalanche. Ice avalanche is the one such reason. Because of this, cloudbursts happen and again leads to the huge flood and outburst. And third one is the landslide. Because of these landslides, if they come into this lakes and get into these lakes, and this water again gets into overflown, and this overflow of water again submerges the adjacent areas. So when there is a ice avalanche, it comes into the lake and outbursts happen. When there is a landslide, it comes into the lake, outburst happens. When there is a cloudburst, huge rainfall, again it comes and leads to the outburst. For example, Uttarakhand floods is one such example. And even the floods in northeastern region is one such example. Apart from that, glacier melting, and this is like glacier melting, ice melting. If this ice is getting melted repeatedly, completely, and again that is converting into the water, and the level of the water increases, from there again it floods, outbursts, and again it submerges the regions. Now coming to the point, highly important version. See, this is the ice present, and in future just check it out, this whole part is gonna melt, and this is how giving growth of the lake. So this is called glacier thinning, and lake exposed to mass movement, especially this melting of ice, and this is newly exposed bedrock, sorry, and this is how it improves the retreating terminus, how this moraine gets accumulated, how these debris get accumulated. I just want to explain very clearly why this happens. See, it happens because of few reasons. Reasons for glacial lake outburst of floods. The main most important reasons I am going to explain. This might be man-made, or these might be natural or environmental. See, even man-made also leads to the environmental, and those like especially industrialization, emissions, pollutions, and especially this deforestation, huge projects, developmental projects and dams, etc., infrastructural development, and also emissions, pollutions, deforestations, and it's kind of developing these what it's called, huge environmental impact on the oil spills, all this comes under coral bleaching, all this comes under. These all are like man-made, which are giving huge impact on environment of the. And natural comes to first most important, earthquakes, climate change. And climate change, apart from that, landslides, again avalanches, cloudburst. All these are directly indirectly related to the man-made causes. See, climate change is happening because of, I'll just explain, global warming. Global warming is happening because of the pollution. Pollution happening because of the man-made activities and industrialization, all these things, especially these emissions. We are releasing lots of carbon and emissions into the atmosphere and space, from where even we are doing lots of development, we are reaching the moon and Mars, but the pollution and damage we are causing to the mother earth is like unbearable, and not, it's a question करने का भी नहीं है, उतना huge loss कर रहे हैं. From this what happens, global warming related to this, climate change related to global warming, global warming related to climate change. And because of this pollutions, what happens, this ice melts. Ice melts because of which glacier lakes gets filled, matlab increase in the sea level, which again led to the submerge of the land nearby, especially these islands and the developing nations, or the small nations, small developing nations which are there nearby the seas. There's a study conducting in few years, we are gonna increase this sea level, which is gonna be like giving a huge impact on the especially island nations. So just understand how this gulf is causing a huge loss both to the man and nature, and again both are interconnected happening because of these two. So now coming back to the point, that's why we are conducting climate change related agreements like Paris Agreement and all, Baku Agreement, COPs 29 and 26, and we are having these targets of emissions, especially these reducing emissions, and we are working strong on controlling these carbon emissions, methane emissions, building strong mechanisms for combating this climate change and pollution, all these things. So all this will definitely helpful if we strictly follow and reach this. So when there's COP29, there was a discussion about this financial mechanism and capacity building. India raised its voice saying, every time you come up with the targets and promises but never reach it. So developed nations responsibility it is to help the developing nations, and it is high time to take action instead of talks. This is the outcome of the COP29. So this is how you have to understand. See, when you are reading something in the paper related to Tista Dam, you have to understand what are the keywords in that particular article and how it is important to UPSC and other competitive exams, and what we can learn and what explanation we can expect on what is important to do this. It's a kind of brainstorming doing all this. Make a note, interlink, simple to other concepts of your syllabus. So now in this article you have read about this Indian Meteorological Department, you have read about this globes, you read about climate change, you have understood how these landslides, earthquakes, and how this thickening of ice and melting of glaciers, everything is leading to the final huge loss and damage to the nature and people. In Odisha, coal dust is clogging leaves. It again talking about carbon emissions. In this article, they clearly mentioned plants covered in mining dust absorb 2 to 3 grams less carbon per square meter, emitting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, potentially exacerbating global warming. Again, just now I said it is all because of common carbon emissions, especially coal dust is the one which is causing huge loss. Already lots of health impact, chronic diseases, respiratory chronic diseases, all these things we are observing. But we definitely need coal for the electricity, as we are already working strong for building our 100% electrification and building strong renewable energy, all these things. But extraction is one such area where we recently mentioned all these guidelines and initiatives, where we were discussing about rat hole mining of coal in Assam and Meghalaya, especially in northeastern regions. So whenever I'm teaching anything, please recall the previous sessions, interconnect it and do the multi-dimensional 360 degrees of the topic, as well as check out the most important synopsis inputs which I am telling, and try to develop the habit of writing running notes. So this article is clearly talking directly and indirectly about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, where they emit oxygen and absorb CO2. So here they clearly mentioned also diminishing the capacity to release water vapor through transpiration. So transpiration, photosynthesis, respirations, these we have learned in the very basic classes like 7th to 9th standards of our school life. But again, this is important, and these are there in our NCRTs. Go back to your NCRTs, give a quick fix and quick glance. And now this article is again talking about carbon emissions are even worsening the situations of plants absorption of these carbons, where again giving huge impact. उसका मतलब है हम इतने सारे पेड़ पौधे डाल रहे हैं to combat these emissions and pollutions, to control this global warming. But since because of this extraction of mines is how troubling the adjacent areas, especially the environment and the people who are living nearby, how it is affecting, all these are like again interconnected. So अभी ये सिर्फ पेज डाला गया था, पिक डाला गया था हिंदू में. सो फ्रॉम एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऐसे देख के छोड़ नहीं देना चाहिए. यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड. सो ओके, कोल माइनिंग इज वन विच इज कॉजिंग ह्यूज क्लॉगिंग. So what can be done to avoid this? So what are the initiatives? So what are the principles and guidelines are mentioned in the extraction policies, especially what this mineral ministry is doing, what are the mineral policies and acts are saying, so how this can be handled without troubling the environment and without causing any loss to the life. This is how you have to think and understand. That's it. Already global warming, carbon emissions, how they are affecting each other is already we have done enough discussion. We are going to discuss about this environmental perspective too, where carbon footprint and carbon sequestration, these kinds of words highly important for exam point of view too. For now, we will be concluding this session. Today we had taken few extra minutes. I know this is highly important topics and we have to do all these things. But still we left with the editorials. We will be releasing editorials as part 2 of today's sessions, because there are highly important editorials has been given which are discussing about these homeopathy related central drugs initiatives, and few schemes are few acts have been, and bureaucracy have been, government initiatives, taxation, regulatory policies, everything is mentioned in this article. And again, climate action, as already mentioned, it is one more important article, highly important from environment perspective. And Trump growth challenges in Sri Lanka, as this is definitely important, as it is talking given from a former executive, especially foreign ministry think tank. So okay, we are going to do this editorial sessions in addition, and we'll be releasing as part 2 of Jan 28th Hindu analysis. Have a wonderful day, study well, all the best, keep rocking. Whenever you need any kind of assistance, just drop a message. We are here to support you. Make sure you are genuinely doing your preparation. Have a wonderful learning. Please do attend classes consistently and build your content, current affairs, static part. If you are feeling like you are not getting proper guidance or proper understanding of the topics, just drop a message. We will be here and we will be doing extraordinary sessions in the coming days too. Have a wonderful day. Study well. All the best. Thank you.